Okay, so we are recording now. All right, welcome to the first CSE 101 lecture, the first online lecture for this. So I guess we'll all be learning some things together. My name is Joseph Leday. Actually, what I'll do is I'll go ahead and uh, share my screen so that you guys can see the slides, what I would normally do here with the course information stuff. Let's see. Share these. They changed on me. It's up here now. Okay, they changed stuff on me from last time. Let's try it and see how well this works. Okay, so you should be now seeing my desktop. Well, the PowerPoint window that has the course slides. Normally, this would be up on the projector, and I would be standing next to it, telling you all about these things. So, what we'll do is we'll go through this, and we will. Normally, what I would do is we would meet twice a week. And what we would do is I would have this kind of just the syllabus. You should also see that there's a PDF file of a syllabus that has been uploaded to the Microsoft Teams for this team. Basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to spend this time kind of going through what that syllabus contains and kind of talking through a little bit more of that. Okay. Normally what we would do is we would meet twice a week. The first day we would meet, I would go just through the syllabus and then dismiss you. And then the second time we would meet that week, we would actually get into some introductory stuff. Unfortunately, we're only meeting once a week this semester for a 3-hour block period. Don't expect that we will actually spend the entire 3 hours on this meeting, especially not today. But that is the time that has been allotted for us. So yeah, it'll be a lot of information all at once, and unfortunately there's not much we can do about that. But I will go ahead and build in some breaks. What we'll do is probably do kind of, instead of one 3-hour meeting or one really long meeting, what we'll probably do is do 2 or 3 shorter meetings so that you guys can have a break. You can go, do whatever it is you might want to do with with a few minutes of a break time to kind of let your brain settle. Like after we go through a lot of stuff, there's going to be a lot of new information that's going to be put into your brain, and let some of that just kind of settle and give you some break time. So please use the features of Microsoft Teams. Since we're not in a classroom, I can't notice that when you might have a question, like you have a look on your face, or if you're not understanding something. So there's this like raise your hand thing. I believe that you can use. Please use the tools that we have available to us so that you can, if you don't understand something and I need to go over it, let me make it very clear. I posted that second comment in Turkish. I know Turkish. I've had classes in Turkish. I do think that I am fluent in Turkish. I want to get there, so I am practicing. So those of you in the course who know Turkish, it's your first language, help me out and let me know when I say things that are not right, okay, so that I can learn. But the reason why I bring that up is I understand that for many of you, this is English as a second language. For probably most of you, English is a second language, and for me, it's not my second language. So I do have a tendency to speak fast. I do have a tendency to say things. I've come from a part of America. That's where I'm originally from, and so we have a dialect. We have an accent. I have an accent, and I know that that's something that can make it difficult for you to understand. So if you have a question, if you're not understanding something, please stop me. Use the raise your hand feature, or message, or maybe even turn on your microphone, and you can stop me at any point. Okay. So I just want to make sure that that's clear. Okay. So if we're moving on. So this course is officially listed as being in the Amphi Uch. Obviously, we're not sitting in that room right now, but we're going to be meeting on Thursdays at 9:30. Now, I have the lab scheduling time that does not show up on the syllabus for this course. The reason for that, the reason why I didn't put it on the syllabus is that this semester we're doing something slightly different, in that instead of a course that has a lab as a part of it, we're going to do a 101 course, and that's what we're doing today. Then you will have a separate course. For those of you who are taking this for the first time, you'll have a separate course that is the lab. Okay, so you'll get 2 different grades, one for this lecture, one for the lab, and so they're going to work together, right? So the lab is intended for you to practice the things that we talk about in lecture, so they're going to work together, but it's going to be 2 separate courses officially. Okay. There's my information below. Some of you have already emailed me about this course. Thank you very much for being proactive. I love students who are excited about learning, and so that's my office. I have office hours. I'm going to figure out how I'm going to do that, because many of you are not in Antalya. So obviously, whether or not I'm sitting in my office and when I'm sitting in my office, really, it makes no difference to you, right? But I do plan to have some type of hours, some specific set of hours every week that I will not schedule anything else, that I will be completely available. So if you want to contact me, if you want to schedule a Teams, like a face-to-face meeting online, or if you want to meet in person, I'm going to have hours that are specifically for that. When I decide what those are, I will let you know. The other thing about that is, whatever the hours I choose, there will be someone in the class that will not work for you, that you'll have a class at the same time, or you'll have something else you have to do at the same time. But I want to be available. I want to be able to help in whatever way I can to help you succeed in this course and in other, whatever it is that you want to do with your life. I want to be able to help you in some way. So if you need to schedule a meeting with me, and my office hours, when I figure out what they are not, I want to say Uygun, but it's not convenient. If it's not convenient for you, then we can schedule something. Just contact me and we'll figure something out. Okay. All right. So, maybe I actually should go back a little bit. I mentioned that I'm an American. Let me go ahead and tell you a little bit about my background as well, and why I love what I do. I love computer programming. I worked as a computer programmer for about 10 years before going back to university to complete my PhD, which I completed at Auburn University in Auburn, Alabama. I loved writing computer programs. I loved being a software engineer. What I loved about it was being able to solve problems. That's what we'll talk about in the next set of slides, is what engineers do, is we solve problems. But at the same time, I also loved teaching. I love being able to help others get skills, gain skills, and learn how to do things and learn how to use tools that they've been given to be able to accomplish the things that they want to do. And so that's kind of why I'm where I'm at. When I was in doing my doctorate work, when I was doing my working on my PhD, I was given a great opportunity to live and study in Ankara, Turkey. And during that year and a half, we fell in love with this country and decided that we wanted. My wife and I have a wife. I have 3 kids. You will hear a lot about them, mostly because I think, especially small children, are really good examples of how to learn. And so I'm going to talk about my kids a lot. I'm going to use them as examples in a lot of analogies, in a lot of ways to try to explain something. I will use them. But my family, we fell in love with Turkey when we lived in Ankara, and it was just great. We were able to we were blessed to be able to have an opportunity to live and teach here in Antalya, and I've been here in Antalya for let's see now. We've been in Turkey 6.5 years, and I've been in Antalya for 5 years. So we love it here, and we have no intentions of leaving, and we love to live and to teach wonderful students such as yourselves. Okay. All right. So that's a little bit about me. You'll probably hear more about my background, especially my work background. One of the things that I think helps me to understand some of how to teach and how to help others understand things is the fact that I have work experience. I have about 10 years worth of work experience. Not all of my understanding of computer programming comes from just classes and research, but it comes from actually working for an industry, working for a company. So, all right. So now we can move on. Now that's enough about me for now. All right. So this is basically the course objectives. Read through this at some point. Basically, this is what you're going to be able to do. Now, this is not an exhaustive list. This is not the only stuff that you're going to be able to do at the end of this course. You will be able to do much more than this, but these are some of the key points, some of the key things that you can look forward to being able to accomplish in January once this course is over. Okay. One thing I do want to make known is that this course does not assume that you have any previous programming experience. Okay. Some of you are coming in and you have written programs before, you've learned languages before. Some of you may even know Java already and may even know it better than some full-time programmers out there. Some of you may have learned a different language. You may have learned Python or C or C# or something like that. Some of you come in and you've never even written a single line of code in your entire life. I know that when we have these face-to-face classes like last year, there were some students that had never even owned a computer before coming into our course. That's fine. Okay, there is no requirement that you have any previous programming knowledge. Okay, this could be the first time you could be right now watching this lecture on a computer that you bought yesterday and that you've never touched a computer before. And this course is designed in such a way that if you do the work, if you put in the effort, that you can get to the end of this course and do just as well as anyone else. Okay, so, but the key is, and what I want to make sure you understand is the key is that you have to put in the effort, that you need to do the work to be able to learn this material. Okay, my job is to help kind of guide you through, maybe almost like a tour guide, right? There are these tour guides that do like up in the Himalayas and other mountain ranges that do hiking tours. But it is up to the people who are doing the hiking. They have to do the actual walking and the climbing. The guide is there to help show them where some of the dangers are and where some of the the good places to hike are. And that's what I'm here for, is to help guide you through this. But you have to do the work, okay? The responsibility is on you. All right. Okay. Is there a question? If so, that's fine. Just okay. All right. So this is your textbook. This is available as a download. This is basically what we're going to be there. There's no. I'm not going to require that you own this textbook, so you don't have to go out and buy it. I do know that some previous students probably have it on PDF, and you might be able to find it from them, or they may have a paper copy of it, a physical copy of this text that you could borrow for this semester. Again, the text is a good resource to have, and the syllabus, the PDF syllabus, has some other resources that you might be interested in as well. This is the basis of what the slides will be. But again, there's no requirement that you go out and buy this textbook. Right, but it's just so you know where this information is coming from. This is where we're going to be using as the basics. Okay. All right. Those of you who are on this call and not watching this after the fact, you are already you're already on this team. So so you don't need to add that. But I do have this slide here for there are probably some students who are still trying to join this team, okay, so that they can access the material. So we're going to be using this Microsoft Teams. It is, again, your responsibility to check for updates concerning the course. I will do everything I can to make announcements in a timely fashion. We will make announcements during the lecture. I'll make a written announcement to the Microsoft Teams site. But if I make an announcement about maybe an assignment is due, or there's a deadline change on an assignment, or if I announce that there will be something like a quiz or something like that, it's your responsibility to check and find that out. Okay. I believe very much that at this point in your life, you guys should be treated like adults. Okay. Some of you, I know, because of the pandemic, you're still living back at home with your parents and stuff like that, but you're still an adult, and you can choose whether to do the work. You can choose whether to check to keep up to date with the course, but you know that if you don't keep up with it, there will be consequences, right? You won't do as well. Okay, so it's not my responsibility to go and hold your hand and make sure that you're doing all the stuff that you need to do to keep up with the course. Okay, it's my responsibility to help, again, guide you through this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to again make announcements. I'm going to assign assignments and quizzes, and we're going to do exams, and all of the dates and deadlines for that will be announced. And so you need to keep up to date with it. Okay. All right. So this is probably, what you're wondering is probably one of the most important parts. Okay, how do I pass this class? What is the percentages of each of the things that we're going to be doing? If you'll notice, those of you who've taken this course before, there is no labs category anymore. That's, again, because the lab is now its own separate course. Okay. I still want to have an attendance and participation. I have some ideas of how I'm going to do that in this online format, but I'm not entirely sure how many of that, but there will be an attendance and participation grade. It's only 5%, so you can't pass the class just by coming to the class and not doing any work, right? You can't pass that way, but it is, a little bit of something for there. Okay. You also won't outright fail the class if you don't come at all. All right. I think it's important that you attend. I think it's important that you watch the lectures, that you participate in discussions, that you ask questions, that you answer questions when I ask them. Yeah, but I don't require it because if you're gonna come and not pay attention, then that's not very helpful to you or to me. Okay. The rest of it is as follows: the quizzes is 5%, the homework is 30%, midterm is 20, and final is 40. Now I say tentative on this because this is subject to change. It all depends on how the university decides to. It all depends on how the university decides these things should be done, such as last semester when there were some changes made for basically the midterm exam, final exam type stuff. Okay. All right. Like I said, attendance and class discussions are essential. If you miss something, it's you have to find out what it is. Remember, the responsibility is on you to make sure that you know what's going on in the class. If you don't understand something, I need you to ask questions. Okay, you need to ask questions. All right, there's no shame in not knowing something. Okay, the problem is not if you don't know something. I don't know everything, right? Hold on just a second. Okay, sorry about that. If you miss a class, sorry, what I was saying was about asking and answering questions. Okay, I don't know everything. You know, as we get to know each other this semester, at times I will try to say things in Turkish just out of practice. What I would like to do is be able to say anything in both English and Turkish, but I'm going to get things wrong. I'm going to say things wrong in Turkish. The key for me to learn Turkish is for me to be able to be open to not knowing, asking for clarification, asking for correction, and accepting that correction when it's given. Okay, so how does that relate to this? How does that relate to you? If you don't understand something that I'm saying, it could be the way that I say it, the English that I use. It could be that it's a difficult concept for you. It's a difficult thing for you to understand. That is okay, right? What's not okay is to not know something and not ask how to do it. Okay, so if you need a clarification, if you need help with something, you have to let me know. You need to make sure that you ask questions. Okay, ask Taha questions. He's the assistant for this course, right? Ask other professors questions, right? Make sure that if you don't understand something, you ask about it. Okay. If you miss a quiz, there won't be a makeup for one. This is more important if we were physically doing lectures and if we were physically and I was giving a paper quiz. Quizzes will be mostly, as far as I can tell, based on what I've been seeing, quizzes will be mostly done as a form style, like a Google form or a Microsoft Teams form. So you'll have more time. It won't be necessarily just in class. Okay, but if the deadline comes for a quiz and you haven't submitted it, there won't be a makeup. Okay. All right. Okay. So quizzes will not be announced in advance. So I'm not going to tell, generally, I'm not going to tell you a week in advance that there will be a quiz next Thursday. Okay. What will normally happen for quizzes is that on the day I give them, it'll be announced immediately. And you'll have, you know, some specific amount of time to be able to take the quiz. I do need to be aware that, you know, some students don't have access to consistent internet, and so So quizzes won't necessarily be, okay, here's the form, fill it out. You have, 20 minutes to do it in. That probably won't happen. But again, that's also a tentative thing. We're all learning how this thing works, right? How this online teaching works going forward, right? So, but there will be some quizzes. I do need to edit this. This needs to not be loud a sign. All right. Okay. The plan is is for there to be an examination, like a midterm, one midterm, and one final. So there won't be any makeup for the midterm unless a medical excuse is given or some other university approved excuse, and then we'll have the final exam assignment or final exam test that at the end of the semester that will be based on the entire semester. Okay, so the midterm will be everything up to the week before the midterm. The final exam will be everything. So in other words, after the midterm period is over, don't forget everything from the first half of this class. You need to make sure you remember and keep all that stuff in your head. Okay. One of the nice things about engineering for me is how everything seems to build on itself. So the stuff we learn in the first half of this semester is going to be used in the second half. It builds on itself. Okay, so make sure that you don't forget all the stuff you learn in the first few weeks just because, oh, that's over. I took a quiz on that, or I took a midterm on that, so now I can forget all about it. That's going to not help you do very well in this course. All right, or in life in general, honestly. All right. I don't want to have to go through this, but we have to. Basically, we encourage discussion. We encourage you guys, to ask questions, to talk to each other about things that you don't understand, help each other, right? If you understand something and your friend doesn't, help them understand it. But there is a line that gets crossed where at some point some people will submit work as if it was theirs when it was actually done by someone else. Okay, that is not acceptable. Okay, I said that I would use my family and my kids especially as examples as a lot, and here comes one. Okay, my oldest son, he's 11 years old now. About 4 years ago, when he was in third grade, second grade, first or second grade, he was sitting in class, and there was a quiz that was about Turkish vocabulary words, and his Turkish is not great. He knows Turkish okay, but Turkish is not great, and he asked for the student next to him to explain, hey, what is this word? Can you explain can you explain something about it so that I can answer this question? And the student next to him, she said, well, here, let me just do the quiz for you. Now, the question is my son going to learn Turkish that way? Is he going to learn Turkish if, when there's a quiz about Turkish vocabulary, if he lets someone else give the answers for him? And I hope that those of you who are listening, I hope you said, no, he's not going to learn Turkish that way, right? He might get a good grade, but he won't learn Turkish that way. All right. And so in the same way, you might cheat and you might not get caught, but the point of this course, the point of this university education, the reason why you are here is not just to get a good grade. The reason you're here is to learn how to solve problems, how to use the tools that we're giving you so that one day you can benefit society, so that one day you can get a job, so that one day you can do all the things that you want to do, but it's only going to be through you doing the work yourself, right? You need to learn how, in this class, you need to learn how to write computer programs by you doing the work of writing computer programs. Okay? All right, so again, you guys, many of you know the difference between safe, good discussion of ideas and the difference between that and the difference between that and cheating, right? Many of you know that. So just let's not have anybody do any cheating, and then we don't have to deal with this, right? And we can all have a good time, and we all can have a successful semester. Okay. All right. So the topics that we will be discussing this semester, this is the tentative course outline. This is the plan. Okay. So here we are in week 1. All right. So we're going to be talking about introduction. After the break here, I have a couple more slides on this, and then we'll take a break, and then I'll come back and we'll do some introduction stuff. Okay. And then next week we'll get into elementary programming, and then some selections. We have a holiday coming up. And then basically we'll get into some of the functions, loops, methods, arrays, how to use a file, how to write to and read from a file. And then we'll end with recursion. And then the final exam period will come after that. Okay, so this is the plan for where the midterm week would go, at least my tentative plan. The university may decide differently, right? So this is just the plan for right now. So what that would mean is everything from here up would be the midterm, right? Would be covered on the midterm. And then what would be covered on the final? Is it just this is on the final? See, if we were in class, I would be waiting for someone to say, no, no, right? No, everything, all of this is going to be on as part of the final exam, okay? All right. Some important notes, keep up with the course. Don't try to do nothing. Don't try to, just not do anything and play your video games and watch your YouTube videos and do your Instagram and tweeting and all that stuff. Don't do all that for like the next 4 or 5 weeks and then suddenly think, oh, now I need to go keep up with the course, and think that you're going to watch all the lecture videos from the first 4 or 5 weeks and think you catch up that way. Okay, you need to keep steadily up with the course. Okay, attend the lectures. If you missed them, watch the videos, that kind of stuff. All right. When in doubt, ask. Again, I can't stress this enough. If you don't understand something, ask questions. Okay, there's no shame in not knowing something. There's shame in not knowing something and being unwilling to ask for clarification, being unwilling to ask to know how to do something. Okay, big one here for me is attempting and failing is better than not attempting at all. I say partial credit is your friend. The easiest answer for me to grade on an exam, on a quiz, on anything, the easiest answer is a blank answer. It's easy. I just give it a 0. It's no points, right? A blank answer is nothing, right? I'm asking you not to do that, not to make my life easy, okay? I want you to give me more work. Okay? So I want you to try, and the key to being a good engineer, okay? You want to be an engineer. I believe everyone in this call wants to be an engineer. Okay. The key to being a good engineer is being able to try something, fail at it, and learn from our failures. All right. I have a good friend that when I first moved to Turkey, he told me as I was trying to learn Turkish, he said the key to learning Turkish is to make 10,000 mistakes. I was like, really? He's like, yeah. You've got to say things, you've got to get them wrong, and you've got to be able to have people tell you, oh, you said that wrong, this is the correct way to say it. All right. But you have to be willing to go out there, make mistakes, and learn from those mistakes. All right. So as far as this course is concerned, I say partial credit is your friend, because the truth is, if you give me a bunch of blank answers on quizzes and tests, and I give you a bunch of zeros, it's going to be hard to pass the class. But if you give me an answer that shows that you understand the question, and maybe you don't get it exactly 100% right, but you're trying something, you're trying to figure things out. I can give partial credit. I can give points for that. And some points is better than no points, right? Okay. So make sure you try. And if you do not get something right, if you do not understand something, that you learn from those mistakes. Okay. I'll do the Carnegie Hall thing. I need to remove that from this slide, but it's an old American joke. Maybe I'll tell it some other time. All right. If you have a class conflict, in other words, if you cannot be on this call, right, or and you want to be excused from the whole attendance thing, or if you want to use last year's attendance grades, you need to notify me by email. I need to change that to 2020. You must notify me by email no later than the end of the 3rd week of class. Okay, so the Friday, the 23rd of October, I need to be notified that you intend to not be here for the class, so that I won't give you a bad attendance grade. Okay. All right. Final slide, and then we'll break. There might be some questions. Let me check those out too. But okay, this week I need you to install a Java IDE. It's the IDE stands for Integrated Development Environment. Okay, this is basically something that you're going to use. What you're going to use to write Java code. Okay, write and run Java code. Okay, some examples that I've given are there. These are not the only Java IDEs that are available. There's others. For this class, the one that I will be using when I run examples for you guys is going to be this first one right here called JGrasp. It was developed by one of my professors at Auburn University. I like it. It has a lot of useful features to it. Not all students like this IDE. Some of them like NetBeans. Some of them like IntelliJ. I would say Eclipse is a very powerful IDE. It can do a ton. It can do a lot of things, but its user friendliness, it's not very user friendly. Okay, so it's a little bit harder, especially for new programmers, especially for people who are new to using computers and to writing computer programs. So if you are what we would call a novice user, a novice programmer, a new programmer, Eclipse might be a little bit more than what you can handle for this class. But you know, if you're someone who's been programming for a while, it might be a useful tool. Okay, but all of these are great. All 4 of these are great, and like I said, there's others as well. The IDE doesn't matter because what you're going to be giving to us is not specific IDE stuff. You're going to be giving us Java files, which, as you're going to see in the next lecture, in the next set of lecture slides that we'll get to in just a minute. You can write Java programs using Notepad. You can write Java programs in text editor. Okay, so I'll get into showing that to you. Hopefully today. Hopefully we'll get through that today. But let me go ahead and stop sharing my screen. Okay, and see. All right. All right, so yeah, some people are waiting to join. What I'll do is during the break, I will go ahead and add those students to the course, and what we'll do is we'll start the next lecture in, like, let's say 10 minutes. Let's say 10:30. Okay, so we'll start the next set of slides at 10:30. All right, so I'll see you guys back here. But what we'll do is I'll stop the recording here, and I'll just continue the meeting, and then we'll start it up again, the next recording in 10 minutes. Okay? All right, see you all in about 10.